All right. Good morning once again. So this is where we stopped. We were able to complete the navigation bar. Uh, I told us that though we're trying to see how possible it could be with uh, a CSS and just HTML, but we could not achieve it based on the type of navigation bar we are designing. But the navigation bar is responsive. The only thing that is remaining is for us to make the hamburger to open up the link, which I said we will complete easily with JavaScript. I told us that the best place to actually implement this action, whereby once you reduce the page to the size of a mobile phone, then all the links here are bound to collapse under this navigation hamburger for you to click, and then you view them vertically. So that is the standard. So we will achieve that with JavaScript. That is actually the role of JavaScript. We're only trying to see the possibility in CSS. So this morning we are diving into the second section of your website. Don't forget, I told us that a website is structured in a way that is divided into three parts. When we started this design aspect, I said there is always the first section, which is called the navigation bar, where you have your navigation menu like your home and the rest of them. Your home, then about us, and the rest of the links here. Then at times you can also program social media icon, like Facebook icon can come up here. You can have there sometime depending on the type of navigation bar you are working with. So you can have them somewhere here, or you also have them in your footer. Then we have the body. So this is actually the part we are focusing on this morning. We have the body, and I told us that we also have the last part of every website known as footer, So I want to assume that for this type of navigation bar, we have successfully designed the navigation bar with the navigation menu as we are currently seeing. Now we want to look at this section this morning, and then after this session, we are expected to look at this section. So once we are through with all the sections design, in the first page, which is the home page, we can now move to designing what we want the user to see under About Us. And then after that, we go to Contact. After that, we go to Service. After that, we go to Gallery. So once we are through with that, then I will just show us how to design two different navigation bar, the ones that will have a drop down. So when you, maybe like About, there could be, or Services, there could be a drop down that when they click, it will bring out other words link. That is one type of a navigation bar with a drop down menu. But for this very one, it's not planned to give us that effect. Okay, so let's quickly go back to our coding page where we have been designing the user's interface. Now, remember when we started designing it, we created a div, or let me call this the first container, which is called the nav, and with the class name navbar. Inside it, we wrapped different elements in there. We have the div that is holding our logo or our logo text, and then we have the ul, which is holding all our links. And then we have this section which was used to generate those 3 lines you are seeing there. And then this is where the container stop. Now, for you to design what the user will see immediately after the header, it means that we are coming outside this container to continue. I hope you are with me. Let me get a response to be sure that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So this is where you come to show that whatever you are going to design, which will be your main body, will be outside the navigation bar. Like as you can see it here, this space is empty. So we are stepping out of this container and then we'll start our body design right there. So to design our body, like I told us before, the body of our website is the main space, which is in between the navigation bar and the footer, like the diagram I used to illustrate the standard website structure now. So every content you want them to see, what you are selling, the ideas you are selling via the website, they are expected to be in the main body, which is this. So after this main body, then follow by the footer. So we need to also start by structuring the main body, just like the way we structure the navigation bar before we started enhancing the way the user will see the properties in there with CSS. So you start with the HTML to define the structure of that particular part. So to start with, we also we are using what we call a card. There is a concept called card, which we normally use to design the body section. This card can also design the footer. So what is card? Card, they are layout property in HTML. In other words, they are used to create layouts. For example, this space that I have now, this is the home page, and being the home page, you are not expected to overcrowd it with information. You have to make it very simple, very neat, and then you reference them with more button or learn more button that when they click, they will go to the main content. Don't try to say everything about yourself in the home page. Just make it brief and make it eye-catching. And then where they are about to hear the main thing, you tell them to click on the more button. So this home page, I will just make it very simple. But what I'm saying is that when you are building content, whether in home or in service or in contact page, there is a layout called card. This is actually borrowed from Bootstrap. So when we get to Bootstrap, you will hear more of this card. So this card in manual design is referred to as columns. So for example, you plan your page that, okay, the whole of this space that is available for you to use, you want to divide it into 2. So this section become card 1. Then this one become what? Card 2. And then under it, you can have other write-up depending on how you will want it. So this is the whole of the page is 1 column. Now dividing it into 2 become what? Mixed column. So it is that division that we are referring to as the card here. So we normally use this to build structure, to define our web layout. So I'm using the card this morning to build the home page. So I'm going to create, the card is made up of different container actually, well structured. You have the main container, you have a child container, and you just have containers nested inside container. This container are represented with div. Then it is the class name that defines the role of each section. So for that reason, we are starting with the div. So, but before that, let me use comment to explain it here. So using HTML card to design main body. That is what we are doing. And don't forget, I said cards are structural elements used to define web layouts. So that is the function of the card. Now, like I said, it's the collection of div, and they are represented with what? Div. So I'll start with the first div, and then I'll open it up. Like I told you, you take note of the layer. So this is just like the way we use now. This is the main container, and we are giving it a class name called card so that we understand it. We are giving it a class name called card. So in other words, you are using this div to structure the website. Then you have another div, like I just told us. Card is just like you are nesting div inside div in order to attain a desired layout. So as we are going, you understand what we are doing with each of these div. So this one is class card image. So don't forget the advice I gave us. Whenever you create a container and you want to class it, always use the name that describes your intention. So for us to say that on card image, you already know what you want to put inside that container. That is, we are going to add an image to that container. So I'll just leave the space. Okay, I think we have image. So I will just call image tag to add the image. So to add the image, I believe I have some picture here. Good. So let me use this. So that is actually the function of that card. So let me close it up. Then outside the div, I'll create another div. We are still inside the first div. And then I'll give it also a class that describes what I intend to do with it, which is called card content. So the name itself, I've already showed you what's the role of this div. So this is where you create all the content. So this one is the image, while this one is the write-up. So what we are trying to have is what we normally see in most websites, whereby you will come to a website. You can see the image I've already applied. Where you come to a website, you will now see an image like this. This is the card that I'm trying to achieve. Then the image, then you now have write-up under the image, like all these newspaper sites or even business websites, you see it. Then maybe somewhere here, there will now be a button like more that they will click. So that is the structure. So, but before then, we have the container, the first div with card is the one holding all of them. They will now have another container holding just the image. So I'm modeling what I have already structured in. And then inside this container, outside this container, now we have created the one of image, and then we have the content following. So that is what we are trying to achieve. So let me go back to my coding page and add the content. So what do I want in this card content? I could just have a heading H2 that we define. This image can be your product image. If it is a portfolio website, it could be your picture, and then under it, you say something about yourself. So if it is your product page, so this will become the product, and then this H2 will now be used to mention the name of the product. Then before we have another tag that will explain the product shortly, and then give us a button to navigate to the main page where you have said everything about the product. So every element has a class, and the class tend to describe their role. So this is card. So take note of the structure. This is the card title. I'm using the class name to explain the role of the card. So the title could be, let's say this image, let's say it's a product. Let's say this is computer. So I will just say what? Computer. Computer set. Just say that, for example. Then I want to say something about the computer. I'll come outside. I'm still inside the general container. I can just use p tag just to explain this heading. Then, of course, like I told you, every element should be classed according to the intention. What do you want to do with it? So it will make you to remember why you are using that element. So I'll name it card-test. Card-what? Test. So because of time, I don't have tests that I've already pre-written. So I will just say lorem. Just for us, I believe we'll still remember this embedded test writer. So lorem, just give me 100 words just to create. So let's go to the front end and see what we have designed. So you can see it well structured. You can see it. This is the image. We are still going to style it. And then you have the header, and then you have the write-up. Are you with me? Are we still together? Please, I need a response before I continue, just to know.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is a card. Now, if I want two of them, for example, this is what I'm going to do. It's a very simple thing where you want two of them. So what I'm going to do is if you want two of them, you see, this is the first container. This is the first container card that is holding all of them. This is where the first one starts. Every card, we have an image, we have a title, then we have, content. Inside the content, you have the. So if I want two cards, this is what I'm going to do. I will highlight the whole of this that's inside that big container, then copy it. Then while I'm still inside that container, I will paste it. So it then means that what? Now I have two cards. If I want three cards, that is three columns, I will copy again and paste while I'm still inside the content, the div with the class name what? Card. So if I go to the front end now, you see that what? This is where the first one stops. This is the first product image. This is the title. This is the write-up. Remember, we are going to add what? Learn more button, because we are not expected to see everything here. This is the second one image. This is the title. So at the end of the day, you will now flex. Remember, if I want to display them side by side, what I'm going to do is to go to my CSS and tell this particular one, where is it? I will tell this, let me do it inline here so that you can understand it. So I will just come here. I'll say what? Display is something that I taught us last time. Display, I will just say what? Flex, which means that two of them will be placed side by side automatically. Once you can see it now, they are already placed side by side. If you check here now, you see they are placed by side. only thing is that the div and the image size have to be reduced for us to see it. So after the first one, you have the second one. So this is the column layout that we are talking about. So I just want you to know that in case you want to use more than one card, that is going to be the structure. So if I may temporarily, because I've not really started the CSS, but I just want to quickly chip in some concepts which align with what I explained to us. So if I can just manually just work on these images, can just say what style, I'm just using inline, which is part of the CSS addition method that we have learned from the beginning. So I will just say what width. Width, I just want it to be 400 ps, and then the height, to be 350 ps. So I will just copy the whole of this and give it to the second image just to save my time. So I'm just doing this in case I did not, because the plan I have may not be this particular layout where you have two cards. But in case you want it to be like this, I just want to show the concept. So I'll say width. Remember, the width I gave the other was 400 ps. Then step out and also say height. The height is what? 350 ps. Now, if I go back to the front end, you see that what? We have it like this. The reason why we have it like this is that what is controlling the length of each card is the what? The div that is holding the content. So just widthing or heightening the image will not give us what we want. Well, let's continue. Let's get the first one well styled first, and then we can now copy and paste this the structure that will give us what we are looking for easily. So let me go back to the default appearance first. Okay, so we have it back. Okay, I've not changed the place I added the display flash. Just want everything to go back to inline, sorry, block instead of inline. Okay, so now we are through with the layout. So let's quickly go to the CSS for us to make it user-friendly, because we cannot leave it like this. It's not user-friendly. So we need to enhance the presentation of all these components. So, of course, we have our CSS file created. So I will just go there and add the CSS for this card. So let me go to the CSS file. So let me start by saying styling my HTML card. Okay, we are going to apply it to multiple. So let me make it a card. So from your CSS, remember what I told us. Once you are involving CSS, but there's something we need to add, which we have not added, the learn more button. We need to add it. It's very important. So after the test, the card test, where is it here? After the card test, after here, we need to add the learn more button. We need to add it here. We need to add it here. It's very important because, like I said, we are not expected to see everything in our homepage. We have to just brief it, give them a strong header that will pin them and encourage them to read further by clicking. So let's add the button. There is a tag called button for creating that button. And then I will class that button, class it based on what I want to do with it. Like I told us, hyphen what? BTN. BTN represents button. And then what will be there is read more. That is what I'm going to have there. Read more, so they will know. So I'm copy this and then add it to the next. Okay, I've later come back to one card. Okay, I'm still having two cards. So I need to delete one for now. To delete one. Once we have properly styled one, then we can now copy it and paste it. So let me add what I just created now. Let me add it here. See here, I'm supposed to add it at all. Okay, let me trace it. This is the card. This is the image. This is the text. Yes, it's coming here. Okay, so this is the second one that I pasted. So I have to delete this second one. For now, to delete this second one. Hope I'm deleting the right. This div. I want to know if the div are closing properly. Okay, yeah, I think I'm correct here. So let me check the front end. Okay, good. So we have the learn more button here. So we just give them brief intro here and then trigger them to click here to go to the full content. So we just added that. Now we can go back to our CSS file. Now we follow the hierarchy. I gave us one advice the other time that whenever you are styling your CSS, always make sure that you prioritize the order of your layout. What is the order of your layout? The order of your layout is that you started with the index page. From the index page, you created the first div, which is the card, and then followed by the card image, followed by the card content, and then followed by this. So we're going to start selecting this element from the top. So we'll talk to them according to the order of creating them. That is what I'm saying. So that is exactly what I want to do in my CSS page. Okay, so I go back to the CSS. I'll start with the card. So let me see if I can just create. I will just say the card, the element with a class name card. So it's the first one we are talking to dot card. So I'll just come down and say dot card and then declare my CSS properties block. Then the first thing I want to do, I want to create a margin because I want to create maximum width. So most of these properties, they are properties we have already discussed. When you are setting up maximum width for an element, you are indirectly saying that you are creating a limit that it cannot exceed. And you are doing this because of capturing some devices. You are defining the responsiveness somehow that it should not display. So what we are saying is that, right now the card is covering the entire what? The entire page. That was what happened the other time where we could not have after reducing the image because then the div was taking the whole space. So you can see, immediately I said that, you can see what happened here. You can see all this write-off, they were not limited to this page before, they were stretched beyond this. But now you have set a limit that what? No matter how, they should not go beyond 300. So this is the 300. So at the end of the day, our image will also be compared to fall within that range. But for now, we have just spoken to the card. I've just spoken to the card. So let me go back to my coding page. All right, so the next one, I want a background for the card, background color for the card, and then the background color, I'm using this hexadecimal way that we have explained to us before. So border radius, we want border radius. Like I told us, some of these things, they are properties you have already know. Border radius means you want the box that is going to hold all the card content to have a kind of curved corners or edges. So border radius, we don't want it to be too much. Let it just be only what? 10. Then we have both shadow. We want a kind of a shadow effect that will come upon it. So let's see. Let's be checking. So once we activate the border, you will see it. Once we activate the border, you will see it. So we want a kind of box shadow. We want a shadow effect to stretch out from the box, which is the card. So to configure it, we will say 0, 0. We are defining the both as in the area, the borderline, the shadow we cover as left, top, bottom, and then 10 PS. So you are saying that the border shadow should not affect two axes. That is the meaning of that 0, 0. So top and bottom will not be affected. Then you need to specify the color. So I'm using RGBA to calculate the color, which is what I've taught you before now. So I would like black color. So that's why I'm putting 0 for all. 0 for all. And then I will want some opacity. That is to reduce the black effects. The black should not be 100%. So that's the value of that A, which represents alpha. Then I'll just say 0.1. So you can see that I've dimmed the black a little. So let's check whether we can see the shadow. Let's see whether we can see the shadow. You can start seeing the shadow here. You can see it here. So that we like, it's just like engraving it, just try to make the card to stand out from other things. So that is what we are doing here. So the next one is we want some margin between one card and the other. We want margin, and that margin should be applied to all sides. So 20 what? PS. So like I told us, when you are designing, be observing. You can see our card. The only thing is that once I start talking to the picture will be compressed inside the card. But right now, we have not spoken to card-image. That is the reason why this is not affected. Or at least we can see the impact of the card. You can see the shadow here. And then by the time we copy and paste now, you see that we will have a margin defined between them. So we also have some padding. Remember padding, we want to create some internal space in order to space each of those elements inside the card. So I want it to be 20 PS. So if I go back to you see that what? There is a margin. There is a margin. So the picture is no longer touching here. And the right of also, they are no longer touching this line. And then here also, you can see that there is a space. That is what that padding does. So now we have spoken to the first element. So the first div with the class name dot card. That is where we have the image. Hyphen image. Remember how we lay out everything from the HTML. So now dot card hyphen image, and then I'll open my bracket. So what I want is width. So the first thing I want in that card, the image should be 100%. 100%, which means I should take the whole space available in the container that is in. That is the meaning. So let's go there and check if we have it. Okay, so that is now. Let's also look at the height. Let's look at the height. The height should be 150. 150 PS. 150 PS. So let me also check if I have. Okay, so I have it this way. So if at the end of the styling, now I want us to understand something. Why is that if everything we have applied have not affected the image? Now you check your structure because CSS is following your structure. This is a div. Inside the div, you have the image. So we have not started talking to the image itself. That is why the image is not being affected. So that image, we are supposed to class it. We have to class it. And then we are classing it with card. We are classing it with card space image. Card space image. Okay, so let's give it this class. So let's put a hyphen there. So this is what we use to resize that image. But for now, our card is okay. You can see it now. So as soon as I added that particular effect, you can see the way it shrink. So the image is now compared with to limit itself to the size of this size of the container. So it can never go beyond the container. That is the meaning. So now let's go back to, so it is that image that I want to talk to now. To that image I want to talk to in my CSS. Okay, that's good, good, good. That means we have already styled it 100%. And then margin, sorry, height 150 ps. That is for the container. Right now, what is regulating it? I want us to get something right. I've spoken about that before. Anytime you have a child element inside the main element, once you have spoken or once you have not spoken to the child element, the child, will inherit the property of the parent. Right now, we have not called just this. Okay, I think I gave you the same class. So that is why it's affecting it. So I don't want it to have the same style. So I will remove the hyphen just to differentiate this one from this one. So let's go back to the page. You can see the way it appears now because I have dropped it from the parent element. So the parent element, I gave it a card-image. Why the image itself, just to differentiate it, I have just what? Image this. So I will take this and talk to this now in my CSS. So I will just put dot here and then. So what do I want there? What do I want there? Let me see what I'm going to do there. Okay, let's make it easier for us. Let's make it easier for us. Remember, I told us CSS combinator. So don't let us style this very one. Don't let us class it. I'll tell you how we will address it now. We will use the parent element to address it. We will use the parent element to address it. So how we are going to address it is this. We already know that that is inside this. Our parent element, that is inside this. That image is inside this from our HTML. So here, what I'm styling here is styling the image inside the div with a class name, with class name dot card hyphen image. So remember, if you want to talk to the child of an element, once you have called the parent element, you say space and then you say IMG. So with this, we have automatically specified the particular image in this page you are talking to, which means you are saying that if I have another image in this page, talk to only the image that is wrapped inside what? A div with a class name what? Card image. Are we following? Did you understand that concept? That is why I do not want to bother myself with giving it additional class. So I'm talking to this now directly with its own parent element. So I need a response. Are we getting it?
Yes.
Flourish, are you still here? We have not dozed off. Okay. All right. So now let's quickly look at. So you can see everything is fitted properly now. So, but we will now do what we call, let's add this effect and see the impact it's going to do, it's going to make. So you can see that it's the same width. So my card image, I discovered that my dot card image is not going to be this. So these properties, they are for the image itself. That is the reason why we have been able to what to fit it. So for the container that is holding the image, so it's going to be, let's put overflow. Overflow is a CSS property. Overflow can flow X, that's horizontal, and Y. So when you say this, then you mean the Y. So overflow, let's put what? Hidden. You are going to see the impact of it. You see that there's a way it shifted now. Now, remember that we are considering the responsiveness. So most of these features here, they are just to enhance the responsiveness. So border left, I want border left, border top left, border top left. So all this, we are still trying to design it. Border top left, border top left radius. So instead of you saying radius for all the side, you want to define different radius for different sides. So we also have border. All this is to expose us to different CSS property, just for you to know that we have something called border top right radius. If not, I can as well say I may not even involve some of these things. So I have it this way. So let's go there and check. So you can see what we did now. This is the radius here. The radius you have here is different from the radius you have here. But then if you go down, there's no radius at the bottom, because that is the meaning of talking to a specific side. So this one is border top left. This one is border top right. So you can individually, using this property structure, to talk to each side. But if I have wanted all of them to have the same border radius, I will just say what? Border radius, maybe 10. So it's a design, it's your choice. It's your choice. So we maintain this for this, but let's just add this property just to see the impact. Let's say object fits, because we notice that is on one side. You now say object fit cover. So let's go back there. So you can see that it's properly fit. Like I said, most of this, if you are not getting the reaction, it might be when you start your responsiveness. Remember that when they reduce this site to a mobile size, we have a plan for that. We have plan for it. So most of these properties, they might just be there to enhance, but the work of this to make everything what fits, the image fit. So now let's quickly talk to the contents. Remember, according to our structure, we have what? A class called what? Dot card hyphen content. If you go to your HTML, you find them. Let me go there to remind us. So what we are talking to right now is this div with this class what? Card hyphen content. So that's why you must know your HTML structure. So when you are selecting, you know which one you are actually selecting. Card hyphen content. Card hyphen content. Can you hear me? Please, sorry about that. It was network. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me, please?
I can hear you, Sid.
All right. So now we are styling the contents. So the content, I will just want some space, padding. Want some space, padding. I will just say all the sides you have padding of 20 ps. So let's check the front end. Okay. So you can see the 20 now. You can see the content now. You can see 20 ps, 20 ps here, 20 ps. So it's well fitted now. So we have that space across all the side. That is just what. Now I want to talk to the dot card hyphen title. So that is the next one. So I'll go back to the HTML to identify it in case you have forgotten the div with the class name hyphen title. So this thing is very simple, just for you to understand your structure. So we have spoken to this. This is where you are now. That is what produced this what computer set. So you want to talk to it. So let's go back there. So what do I want there? If I want maybe font size, just want to enhance the size to make it 18 ps. All these properties are subjected to changes depending on how you want user to experience your website. For all this, why we are deliberately using some, because we want you to be aware of some of these properties. You know that they exist. But it's only where you see someone using them, you know that, okay, they can actually do something. So margin bottom. So here you are you are adding space from the outside to only one side. So now let's check what we get here. Okay, so added margin. In case we paste another card that comes under it, there will be that space so that both of them will not lap. So that is for that. Then we are talking to the next one. The next one is where we have the card hyphen text card hyphen what text. So I believe you know where that is coming from. So I'll show us in a moment. So anytime you select an element, always find out you know where the element is. So this is what you are talking to now. So now what you want here is card text. What you want here also for the font size. Font size, I want to give it 14 ps. Your own can be 16, can be any other. Then color, we want to specify the color of this write-off. So we are using hexadecimal also, where you start with hash and then call number. So this is a color. We don't want it to be too smart. You can see it now. In order to, you can see it now that we have make it more bright compared to other write-up there. That is a card text. The text inside it, they have been affected. Then we want some margin, not for all sides, not for all sides, but at the bottom because of the button link there. So there can be space between it. We don't want, because all this, once they open on a mobile phone, for laptop, everything might be looking nice. But once they open on the mobile phone, you see things lapping. That is why we are mandating all these things, margin, bottom. So whichever device is open, then the next card should not lap each other, because you have set 20 PS as the bottom margin. So the next one is dot card hyphen btn dot card hyphen btn. I believe you know where that element is. I'll go back and show us also. Hyphen btn. So if you check here now, this is the element you are talking to now, this one. So let's go back there. What do I want there? So I just want a different background for that button. Want to make it look professional. And then I will also use my hexadecimal method, but here I'm calculating different color. 4C, 4C, A, F, this will form a color, and 50. So this is the color I want. So you can see it for the background. So you can change your color as you want. Then the right top color itself should use one of the color we have used in order to balance other color. Then we want some borders around it. Border. We don't want border, so we simply say what? None, in order to make it look presentable. So if you go back to the front end, you can see that everything is looking nice now. So what we are targeting is to give user good experience so that they will always want to come back to our site. That is the essence of all this beautification that we are taking our time to implement. Then I want padding. I want some space between the write-up inside that container from the inside. So you can see that there is now reasonable padding and it's better presented. So the next one, I want font size. Font size. The font size, I want it to be 16 PS. So you can be checking. Like I said, don't always finish writing before you check. At this point, you are learning. Once you write anyone, you confirm. Then cursor. Cursor, if somebody click on this now, you can see it's not showing the hand symbol to show that it's a clickable text. So want to add that effect. So you just say what? Cursor. You say pointer. Cursor, pointer. So if I add it now and I go back, you see that once you come, you can see the hand. But prior now, it was not showing hand. So you have to show that it's a clickable text, because when user does not see this hand, they will not know that it's a clickable text. So that is the essence of this cursor. Okay. So now we want to add some hover effect. I believe we are familiar with when they hover on it, we want a different experience. So adding hover effects to the button. Adding hover effect to the button. So remember the structure for hover effect. You call the element first, hyphen btn, then you add this as usual. Activate your hover effect before you declare your CSS block. Then we just want a different background color, and then we want to also calculate it with hexadecimal. 3E, 8E, 8E41. That will give us a color that is a little bit darker than this. So when they click, look at this hover, it will be a darker one. You can see it. So everything is properly calculated. Now we want to add some responsiveness to this card, which means that if the user, for example, if they reduce this page to mobile size, how is it going to collapse, particularly when we have more than one card? Now, this is what I was saying the other time. So let me go back to my HTML and copy what I did the other time now. So if I take the whole of this, so this is the card, this is the image. So if I want more than one card inside one row, so I will just change the structure. So what I will just do is this, just pay attention here. I will just add another div, and the div, this one is the main container. So I will just say cut, and then bring it here to wrap orders. To wrap orders, then I will class this one. I will class this one. Let's say what? Row. I will class this one row. So it is this one that I will now flex. So let me duplicate all this one. So this is one card. Let me tell you how you can increase the structure. So this is one card. Copy it. You come outside it. You are still inside the first div. You paste it. So if I go back to my page now, you see I have what? Two different cards. But the two cards, you see the way they are presented under each other. I want this one to be by the side of this. So what I will simply do is to go to my CSS and simply say dot row. That one I just added that is enveloping both of them. And then add display flex. Now, if you go back to the page now, you see that the display did not work because I think I should just say continue with this because it will lead to multiple structure, because we have already constrained the card itself to a certain what width. So that 300. So whatever we are doing is not reflecting because we have said maximum. So if we want to get this now, we have to start, changing the maximum. So let me just limit to this. Probably in the next class, I will do for multiple card, like more than one, so that you will understand it better. But normally when you are learning card, you learn how to build one first before you go to 2 and 3 and 4, like that. So we want to see how it will respond on phone when the user click on this. So let's see how we can add that responsiveness, which I talked about before. So adding responsiveness to the card. So remember what I told us about responsiveness. Responsiveness is just to make the card to respond or to fit to a smaller device. So remember the syntax. You start with at media. We have used this command before. This is the first and second time of using it. At media, then you now define your maximum width. And then you specify it. So I told us that mobile phones are within the range of 768 PS. We did that the other time. Then you declare your CSS block. Then you select the elements that you want to define its responsiveness, which is the dot card itself. And then you nest it there. And then you are saying that on that device, the card should display a margin of 10 PS on that 768 device. So we are still inside this. We are nesting another one. Okay, that is for the margin for that. So we come outside this, we define another responsiveness. So I will just copy this format, Control C. So now I'm not nesting it inside. I'm calling those elements one after the other and defining their responsiveness. Here you call card. Here we are going to call another element. It's that same card, but we say margin 10%. So I will just say margin here, but this one is 5% or 5 PS rather. Then I will now define another one here, another one here. So this one, I will say maximum width. I'm targeting another device now. Maximum width, it should be 480. So you can see what Bootstrap have done for us. So if not for Bootstrap, that we are going to learn. This is how we are supposed to be calling all our elements one after the other and stating their responsiveness effects. So here will be, I said here will be margin will be 5% also, 5 PS rather, 5 PS, not 15. So the first one is margin 10. Then the second responsiveness, okay, I think let's make it this way. This one should be the second one, the one with 480. And then here we have aligned that. Then inside this one, you are talking to two elements. You have spoken to the first one, card. Then here you want to talk to card hyphen image, hyphen image. So here I'm nesting, but here I just call only one element and I close it. Here I am using the media query to talk to more than one. That is the meaning. IMG, that is the image inside it. So the height of it on that device size should be 100 PS. Should be 100 PS. So that is all about this. So let's go to, so by the time it's open on a mobile phone, there won't be issue. Because right now, we left the whole of this open because of the size of the card, where we have the plan of using multiple card. But this one is just for one. So if I want to, let me check the mobile view so that we can understand what we are talking about. So you can see you can see that it fits properly on a mobile. Then let's check, because it's within, we created a responsiveness for 400. So let me change it to another device. Let's say iPad Pro. You can see it's still fitting according to the way we design it. This one is fitting properly. So even if at the moment this one is fitting properly, if at the moment here, as at the time you have it here on a laptop view, if everything is showing well, everything could be showing well. But by the time I switch to that mobile view, if my responsiveness is not properly defined, you will see it scattering. You see where this image will come here. Maybe this text will now be in front. So this is how to create card. Like I said, it is for defining our web layout in order to give users good experience. So after this, if we want to temper with something, fine. We can now say, if you go to where you have card maximum width, let's say you want to, I just want to see some possibilities, things you can easily what do if there is need for that. If there is need for that. Now, the place where we said card maximum width. So I can say, okay, maximum width, you should take up to 500. If I come back now, you see that what? I have been able to what? To increase it. Now, because why I increase this maximum width now, it is because as soon as I increase my maximum width, remember that the image is a bit what? I trim off. If you want it that way, fine. That means you need to go and start talking to that. So since it's only one card, I can decide to place it at the middle of the page. Or I copy the whole of this, then like I did the other time, and see if we can have two cards here. Now, let's try and do something to see if we can manipulate this to be two cards. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to come back to my, I've already wrapped them inside this. So let me copy this, copy, and then paste. So I have it under. Now let's troubleshoot how we can make it to display beside this. So what I'm going to do now, remember that we added the row. Let me try and achieve it inline first. So style, display. So if we are able to achieve this, then that becomes the format for two. So the maximum width, the width of this card, we are going to make it 100% so that it will allow other ones to take that space. So let's go back to where we spoke to the maximum width again and say that, where is it? Maximum width. Okay, sorry, not here. Maximum width, maximum width. So maximum width, let me use 100% so that there will not be any limit. Then I come back here. So perfect. So we have been able to what? Though we have it stretched across the entire page, which is something that we need for that one card. But what we wanted is to display it side by side. Now, the issue is that if we want it to display side by side, we are going to come up with a column layout, which I don't want us to go into. We'll do that in the next class, so that we'll have another opportunity to learn another card. So what I'm going to do now is to remove this, remove the last one I pasted, which is this. Remove the last one I pasted. So here, what I'm going to, so let's say we want it to be one card like this for this page. So the height, I want to stretch it because I know that we also spoke to the height also. The height, here is where we talk to the card. Width is what? I'm trying to make it display properly since we are having just one. The height, maximum width, this, and then, okay, so if we don't have height, let's hide. I thought there was a place where, okay, that was the image. Okay, so let me add the height of 500 PS, just to see. Okay, now this image, I'm trying to see if we can have the image. I think we have to talk to where we have the image. That is where we added height something. Okay, so yeah, we say the image 150. So we increase the height of this image so that it will not be cropping. So let's put the height to 400. 400. Good. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So since it's just one page, now let's check for the responsiveness now. If we try to reduce it on phone, you can see everything is compacting. Once you get to that 400 or that 7, you can see that everything is fitting. So this is the responsiveness that we are talking about. So if we did not add this responsiveness, let me tell you what will have happened. We did not add all these things, all this, where we define this now. As I am reducing it like this now, once I reduce this image, maybe it's only half of it you will have been seeing at the moment. I hope you are with me. Yes, I need a response. Are you with me? Flourish.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see it's responsive, and then to the full, this laptop view, this is tablet view, then this is mobile view. So everything is well arranged, good user friendly. So that is all about that. So if I want another horizontal one, so what I will do is this. This one is very achievable with just one. I will just copy the whole of this. I will just copy the whole. So there is no longer need for this because we remove it. Remove it. So we don't need it. So I will just copy the whole of this card, the whole of the card. The whole of the card. If I want, let's say, I want that structure, copy it, then come outside it and paste it. So if I go back to my page now, this is where the first one ends. This is the second one. So this one can be another image. So let's also check for the responsiveness. You see, when you are on mobile, this is what you get. Perfect. So this can be another product. This is the name of that product, your own. That is how I want it. I want you to have more than one card horizontally. One picture, one product, the name of the product, say something about it, add this. So you can see that it is just one that we spent our time developing. We designed this one first, and then we did the CSS. Then you don't need to go and touch your CSS again. Once you are through, you want to have multiple cards horizontally placed, then you just copy the whole of the card and paste it. If I want the third one, I will also come here and also what? Paste. So if I go to the CSS applied to all of them, that is the meaning. The CSS applied to all of them. You don't need to start styling CSS. So if I refresh now, I have, this is the first one, this is the second one. Then let me also test the responsiveness before we call it a day. So you can see everything is responsive. You can see it, the first one. Then I can test the responsiveness, gradually here also. I can test it here. This is one of the best way you can check so that you know at which point, so everything is responsive. So if
But
there's no,
sir, if the thing is on flex, will it still show on when it's responsive?
yes, 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 it will, it will. If it's on flex display, once it comes to mobile phone, mobile view,
Mm,
on laptop, everything will display, the second one will place by the side of the first one. You now have
yes.
three columns. Now, once it comes on flex now, once you get to the defined media size, it will, the second one will go under, the third one will go under. So that
Okay.
is the next one I'm going to teach us to build in the next class. This is what I'm going to do. So I will assume that this is our layout forward, the home page. Then by the time I will design this about us page or service page, I will use that multiple card structure so that we understand it. But this is how you learn. You start from building, learning how one card work with all this manipulation I did. Then before you go to multiple card, because the structure will be different.